On today's episode of the podcast, we talk to retired MMA fighter and UFC veteran Dean Thomas. He shares with us his insight on fights, on recent matchups and how fights went, and the layout of many different divisions. We also talk about his relationship with now welterweight champion Tyron Woodley and his role in coaching him and helping him prepare for all these exciting fights. Dean was a really cool guy, really funny guy, and we hope you guys enjoy this episode. Today's podcast is brought to you by Inverted Gear. Go to invertedgear.com for all your jiu-jitsu gear needs. Type in the coupon code showtheART15 and save some good money. Our next sponsor is Chimera Coffee. Go to chimeracoffee.com, Chimera Coffee with a K, and purchase some of their coffee. They infuse their coffee with nootropics. They're basically things that help your brain operate faster. Google it, it'll help you out. Type in the coupon code showtheART and you will save, say 15%, something. It's a surprise. Go, plug in showtheART coupon code, and save some money, and enjoy. Mr. Dean Thomas, welcome to the show. We are huge fans of not only your MMA past, but your coaching now and your podcast with none other than the welterweight champ. How are you, man? Great.
I'm good, man. How are you guys? Can you guys hear me all right?
Oh, we can hear you, brother, man. We're good to go, man.
Loud and clear.
How's
Word,
everything?
man. That's what's up.
How's everything now that you guys are the champ now? How's everything with that?
How is that championship life?
Well, that's Tyron. You know, the thing is, like, with me and Tyron lives in St. Louis. I live in Florida.
Oh, wow.
But when it comes time to preparation, you know, we get together as often as we can. We got together quite a bit. We met in Milwaukee, did a lot of training there. And I went on a couple of his trips with him to train. And then after he won, man, you know, we split ways. But, you know, I mean, but he, you know, I still feel the celebration.
Nice.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's a good life, man. I mean, it's something that we worked for the last decade. I mean, we really set out to do this 10 years ago. And I'm just so happy for him that it came through.
Yeah, and you know, right before the fight, Marcos and I were watching it, and we were just like, we had this eerie feeling like, if anybody is gonna beat Robbie, it's Tyron. It's Tyron. He's just so explosive. He's got that one punch power, and we just had that feeling when he was walking out. And then, sure enough, he hit him with that one hitter quitter.
He let loose.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, like, in MMA, especially like with them little gloves, man, you can't really afford to take a clean shot against a big puncher. And like, anytime you fight a big puncher, whether it's a guy like Tyron or Anthony Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Like, you fight one of these big punches, man, you just can't afford to take that big shot, especially that early in a fight.
It's true.
That's really what happened, man. He was able to get it off, and he caught Robbie just right where he needed to, man. And like, he catches anybody like that, man, they're going to sleep. They'll be waking up later.
Yeah, that looks like a combo he practices often and he's successful with in the training.
Well, you know what? Like, we developed you know, a couple of different game plans, and I'm really heavy into game planning for fights.
Okay.
And we came up with some good strategies and some good tactics that we wanted to try to work, and he was able to get one of them off, and that was all he needed. But you know, even if that didn't work, you know, we had some other tricks up our sleeves. I'm really into like game planning for fights.
Nice.
Can you open up a little bit on what the game plan was coming into that fight?
Well, you know, the thing is, like, we had so many different ones, and like, we drill and we practice so many different ones, and it's hard to say, like, because depending on what the other guy does, you know. So like, if he's moving this way, we're going to go this way. If he goes this way, we're going to go that way. If he does this, we're going to do that. You know, I mean, I approach. Here's the way I approach fights. I approach it like football. You know, like, if a defense lines up a certain way, we call a certain play.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's hard to say, like. And everything we do, man, we play to win. We play to finish. You know, we're looking to finish. I'm not looking to. And I think that's where guys end up being boring, because they don't have ways to finish.
Yeah.
You know, we look at guys like, who was the guy that won the Ultimate Fighter a couple of weeks ago? He was a 185, or maybe it was a 205er, and he won the Ultimate Fighter, and he just, and everybody called him boring. And to me, I didn't think he was boring.
The guy that beat Khalil.
He just didn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
The guy who beat Khalil.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was boring. He just didn't know how to finish. He wasn't in positions where he could finish. So I'm really big on creating positions to finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Does Tyron practice a lot of, not because I don't want to take away from the rest of his game, but this is how he won. Does he practice a lot of blitzing, straight blast type of attacks, like feint attack, or cut this angle and attack, like off the moving forward pressure, or is that just something that comes naturally?
Well, that was something that came natural to him. Like, he's just really good at that.
Okay.
And that came natural. And I just heard, like, Bill Burr, he made a joke about it the other day, talking about, like, you know, guys that can dunk from the free throw line. Like, not everybody's not looking around going, man, why didn't I think of doing that?
Yeah.
And it's not like something that we just thought of for Tyron to do. He's just good at that. He's just physically capable of doing that. So it's not something that, like, anybody can do, because not everybody has that type of explosive power to move forward like that, with that speed and velocity. Sure. But he has it, and he just does it.
He can move, man.
But what I like about Tyron is his last fight, a long time ago. What was it, 2 years ago against Kelvin? He played a very strategic game. And we were talking about this earlier when we were talking about the Diaz McGregor rematch. Like, sometimes it's not a good idea to play to your strength. Sometimes you gotta like take your ego out of it in order to win the fight. You might not have to play to your strength, but you might have to just play to the best strategy for that fight. And I feel like he kind of did that against Calvin, but it wasn't the exciting fight that everybody wants to see. But from a strategic standpoint, it was exactly what he needed to do. And I like that you said that you guys are very into the strategy of the fight. You need to do that. We can't miss out on that.
Yeah, well, I'll say this about that fight, that was a big, important fight for Tyron's confidence, because partially, you know, prior to that fight, he had a lot of doubts in himself. Okay. And nobody likes to admit that. Yeah. But, a lot of fighters doubt themselves. And I think that fight was the fight that he realized that, like, there was no need to really doubt himself and doubt his abilities. And I think he gained that from that fight. So when you saw him, I think he could have made that fight a lot easier had he not had some doubts in that fight, and then realized in that fight, you saw him realize, hey, wait a minute, why am I not fulfilling my potential in this fight? And then when he finally did, you saw him play out that strategy. Yeah. Now, had he played out that strategy going into that fight, I believe he would have knocked Kelvin out. Mm-hmm. But I think that was a fight where he realized, hey, I'm better than what I performed. Than the way I perform, I'm better than that. Sure. And then he didn't get a chance to prove it against Johnny, because Johnny didn't make weight. Yeah. And his next fight was against Robbie. And you saw what happened when he said, you know what, I'm better than how I've performed.
Sure. And what I like about him too is he's not like trying to be outlandish. Like, he won, and he wasn't trying to disrespect anybody. He was talking from like a supreme confidence. That's what I got from him. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody and say, like, I'm better than you to put you down. It's like, no, I'm better than you because I feel like I'm the best. And I felt like that was the difference this time, which I guess goes in line with what you're saying, right?
Yeah, well, and that's another thing, too, is that, Tyron never wants to, like, his goal was to prove that he was the best in the world or something. He feels like, he felt like he came up short in wrestling, and that's kind of haunted him. So he was trying to redeem himself. It was like a personal achievement for him to prove that he was the best in the world or something. And he was able to go out there and do it. So, like, why not celebrate that? Like, what are you supposed to do when you fight the best in the world and then prove, like, you're supposed, hey, listen, this is what I set out to do. That was a goal of mine. I've achieved it, so now I get to celebrate this.
Yeah, especially after you said, my bad, especially after you said he's been waiting 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've known him, and we've been together for 10 years since he was an amateur. I've cornered him as an amateur, and, we've spent a lot of time together since then. And, and I knew it. I knew something was special about him. And like I said, I'm just really happy that he was able to do it. But that was one thing that you guys said about the Diaz fight, as far as, like, the ego gets in the way. And that's something that's a real thing, too. Like, guys allow their ego to get in the way, or they let fan appreciation alter the way they should fight and go, nah, I'm just going to bang, and I want to make these fans happy, and I'm going to bang, and I'm not going to do what I need to do to win. Because I feel as though Diaz kind of gave a lot of his advantage away in that fight by just not letting go of his ego, or I don't think he did it for the fans, but he just doesn't let go of his ego.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
He could have, I felt like he could have dominated the fight, or at least outperformed Conor and made the win for him and make it decisive if he implemented a little bit more aggressiveness to get the fight to the ground. He's no joke on the ground, and I know he's not the guy to like induce the takedown, but he's a bigger guy. I felt like that was kind of maybe, like you said, ego in him to want to finish the fight standing. Do you agree? Or
well, here 100%. Well, here's the thing. I believe that Conor is a better fighter. Now, don't misconstrue my words here. Mm-hmm. He's a better fighter. I believe that his hand skills are better. He's a better striker. When I say better fighter, I mean a better striker, not a better fighter. Okay. Mm-hmm. I believe that he's a better striker than Nate. His hand skills are better. He's a little bit more versatile.
Way more
He's got
crispier.
better balance.
Yeah.
He's a lot crisper. But Nate is a bigger fighter with more ways to win.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he did not utilize all of his skills in order to win that fight.
Yeah.
And he didn't defend the leg kick. His takedowns against the cage were very frustrating to watch, to say the least. And he just didn't he didn't push forward enough. Now, as you saw, like, Conor was getting tired because he was moving backwards trying to counter.
Yeah.
Nate should have read that and been like, man, I need to push forward and get this guy tired. And keep him tired. And defend the leg kick.
He did good, like, trying to get him to the fence, but especially when the guy's tired and you're throwing bombs at him, and Conor was trying to shoulder roll the punches, but some were getting in. That's the perfect time to really try and take the fight to the ground. Like, Conor was getting drained.
Yeah, he gave that fight away, and like his cage wrestling, like you could see that. And that's one thing that not a lot of guys do. Like, some guys just get them up against the fence and wrestle. But there are very strategic and technical aspects of cage wrestling, hand positioning, head positioning, and things like that may not be in regular wrestling, because regular wrestlers don't do it in wrestling. You don't learn how to wrestle off the fence in the college room. You don't learn that. Yeah. You have to learn that in an MMA room, because that's what we do in an MMA room.
Sure.
And there were a lot of things that he wasn't doing to make that more successful for him.
What do you think? Let's turn back the clock. Had they given it to Nate, if they gave it to Nate, what would have been like the deciding factor? If we tweak something about the fight that would allow the judges to give it to Nate, what do you think would have been the little tweak that Nate should have done?
Well, I believe that fight came down to, and I took a lot of heat over this, and I'm still taking heat on it too, but about those two knockdowns in the second round. I don't believe Nate had to go down on them shots.
Yeah. We were talking about that too.
I don't believe he had to go down. Now, I'm not saying, and the question is, did he get knocked down? Did he get knocked down? Everybody's saying he got dropped, but I don't believe he had to go down. I believe if he wanted to, he could have powered through that and kept on his feet.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with the Diaz brothers, and they flop. You know what I'm saying? They flop. They lose their balance. They flop. They go down on shots. They're still dangerous. You know what I'm saying? He's a guard player. He's a bottom player. It makes no difference to them. And it goes back to that strategy we were talking about before. Like, it makes no difference to them. They're just going to keep trudging along and fighting like super tough journeymen. But I believe that if he had his legs under him and he took them shots, he didn't have to go down on them shots. I don't believe that he had to.
I agree with you, man. And it could have, like, the mentality of that could have been so many different ways. He could have been taking, like, the Fabricio Verdum, like, a game plan where he used to, like, get hit and fall on purpose and play possum. Yeah. Nate could have easily been doing that. Also, like you said, I think if you looked at it, if this was a boxing fight, Nate, like, landing on the, like, getting hit and then falling to the canvas means a lot more to the striker in boxing. But in MMA, it means a lot less. So when Nate falls, he's not thinking, oh, shit, it's going to be a 10-8 round now. He's thinking, nah, this guy's going to come in my guard. So let me not necessarily waste as much energy trying to stay up when I could hopefully pull him into my guard. Maybe, I don't know.
And that was what I believe his strategy was. And not necessarily strategy, but instinctively. Like, you understand, Nate comes from a Cesar Gracie jiu-jitsu background. So, like, they have no problem with just falling down and going to their back and hoping that a guy goes down with them. Yeah. So, like, they were clean shots, and he fell because of them, but he wasn't trying to stay up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't like, oh, I got to stay up, I'm going to lose this round if I get dropped. I believe he was like, hey, look, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to go down to my guard. And because you saw when he went to his guard, he started fishing his leg to bring him in.
Yeah.
He wasn't like trying to he wasn't trying to stay on his feet. He was trying to fish his legs to bring him in.
Yeah, I believe when somebody falls from a shot and they go into defense mode, that hurt them. If they fell from a shot and go into offensive mode and they're looking up, he's fine, and I felt like he did that. I think the first round shot, he fell and he was like, oh shit. But I think in the second round, he was like looking up every time he got hit.
It was weird seeing him get knocked down. 3 times he got knocked down, but the first fight, he was eating every single shot.
Yeah.
It was a lot different. So that's why I thought he was playing possum, because he would go right into the fence and try to pull him in. But, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that 100% that he was slightly playing possum to get that fight to the ground, because he might have known, hey, I probably can't take this guy down because Nate's not a shooter. You know what I'm saying? Nate's not a shooter. He doesn't come from a wrestling background. So one of the easiest ways to get that fight to the ground is to flop to his back.
Sure.
And hope that Conor follows him down, because he wasn't really he struggled to take him down when he tried to.
But that strategy ended up fucking him.
Yeah,
it did. I mean, it's the way I look at it is like, again, when I relate this to football, it's like kicking an onside kick and then I'm returning it and getting good yardage from it.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Now, do you think that the first 2 rounds, I didn't think neither of them were 10-8 rounds, so it wouldn't have mattered.
No, neither did I.
But do you think that Conor won the 4th round? Because I felt like it was razor thin. It was kind of really up to who you were watching during that round. If you were watching Nate, you would have given it to Nate. If you're watching Conor, you would have given it to Conor. What do you think?
Yeah, the 4th round?
Yeah. Because that was like the closest
watching it,
one.
I think I did give that round to Conor, actually.
Okay.
And I think I did give that round to Conor. But the second one, I don't know if I don't think I gave the second one to Conor, just because I was, favoring the idea that Nate really didn't get dropped from the shot.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, he did, but I think I was still favoring the idea that he was just trying to pull guard to lure him into something. So other than that, I thought Nate won that round.
So if Nate didn't fall down at all, and then the outcome of that round was the same, where the last 2 minutes or a minute and a half of the round, Nate starts gaining momentum, Conor starts draining. Yeah. Do you think that if Nate didn't fall down from those 2 shots and the rest of the round went the same, Nate would have got the nod for that round?
I think so. I believe so.
I think so. Why do you think Conor depleted out of nowhere? Like, it was very reminiscent to the first fight.
Why did he get tired? You think?
He just straight drained.
Yeah, Conor. I think it's weird because Conor seems like a very, very relaxed fighter. Like but I do think that he kind of punches himself out of position at times. Like he lunges in on his left hand every so often, and to get back to position, I believe he utilizes a lot of energy.
Just to return and to stabilize his position.
Yeah, that's what I believe, because like he's really clean, but at times like he'll lunge that left hand, and to get back into position, it just takes a lot of energy to do that, as opposed to just stand in position. Because in order to keep Nate off of him, he had to touch him up a bit, and like to keep Nate off, he has to use a lot of energy to stay in position and things like that. And
to add to that,
it's a difficult fight for him.
To add to that, and I agree with you 100%. I didn't really think of that until you said it, but that makes like absolute sense. And to add to that, I feel like the style of Nate is like move forward, cut you off, throw punches, like just throw a lot of different punches. But the mental toll it takes, and the out positioning toll it takes. Like the guy keeps moving forward, he keeps trying to cut you off. You're spending a lot of physical and mental energy trying to like counter him and get back into your position, and just the overwhelming feeling of like being on a beach and the waves keep crashing on top of you. I feel like Nate can do that with his pressure sometimes when it doesn't seem like much, but when you're the guy facing him, I feel like maybe that can take a toll on Conor, because it happened in both fights. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, Nate doesn't let you breathe.
Yeah.
He doesn't let you breathe. Like, you can't catch your breath, because like if you lay back, he's going to put pressure on you. If you come forward, he kind of takes it and just goes with it. And then when you try to lay back, he puts that pressure on you. So you never really get an opportunity to breathe. And that's the difference between them two, is like, as Conor has to get back into position to reset, it takes a lot of energy. Nate never really has to get back into position, because he's going to fall down and then attack you from the ground. or he's going to be out of position and attack you from an awkward position.
Wow.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys they don't really have bad positions. Like, if you knock him down on his back, they're going to submit you with a triangle.
Yeah.
You put him on a turtle, you knock him full, you drag him down to the mat. He doesn't care. They don't have to reset to a position. They're just going to fight from wherever they're at.
Oof.
Because they're good from awkward positions.
So he took the more efficient route of falling instead of using energy to try to keep his feet standing.
Absolutely. It's more efficient to just fall into your guard.
Damn, we got to
get... Where he's equally as dangerous.
Never thought about that.
We have to get Dean Thomas a job as a judge.
Oh, hell yeah.
As all three judges, actually.
Well, but the thing is, but here's why that's such a concept that most people can't understand, is because today we're looking at a generation of MMA guys that come from either a striking background or a wrestling background, because all the jiu-jitsu players still do jiu-jitsu mostly.
Yeah.
Most guys do jiu-jitsu just to be competent enough in MMA, but they don't come from a jiu-jitsu background.
Yes.
We're dealing with a lot of wrestlers. So wrestlers, the idea of falling to your back is like disgusting to them. Like, to pull guard and butt flop is disgusting to them.
Oh, yeah.
So like, they never do it. So we haven't seen this type of fighting in at least 5 years. So most new MMA fans they've come from, Brock Lesnar or whoever, and they're not used to seeing guys go to their back. If a guy pulls guard now, they're like, oh my God, no, I'm standing. This is ridiculous.
Right.
So we haven't seen it. So trying to sell people on this idea that, hey, listen, you're dangerous off your back is kind of foreign to people, so people don't understand it.
So how do we educate people on this? Because this misconception is coming from an ignorance and an uneducation of the sport. Is it you put out video, like the UFC puts out videos of, what's good and what's bad during the rules, like in the beginning, like, hey, these are the rules. You get, it's a 10-8 round or 10-9 round, and then if they fall to their back, jiu-jitsu, boom, it's good. It might be bad. Like, how do we educate the fans that don't really train that much but are fans of the sport in that respect?
I don't know if it's possible, honestly. I believe that it's almost too sophisticated for the type of fans that we have in MMA.
You just have to train.
Yeah, I think, you have to train.
Yeah. You
have to train. But I believe it's too sophisticated for them to realize the amount of intelligence it takes to be able to fight off your back. And it's just hard for people to understand. Like, what people can understand is two guys going toe-to-toe. And that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they want to see. And then, like I said, we still have, people are coming from wrestling backgrounds, they're wrestling all through college and then joining them, going to MMA, and they're not really developing bottom game. So, everything is always a scramble back to your feet.
Sure.
So the days of jiu-jitsu guys may be coming to a close, but I do believe that eventually it may wrap back around where guys are using submissions and being able to fight off their back. It may wrap back around.
Well, Donald Cerrone is a great example of a guy that is super aggressive off his back and tries to really make it work. I mean, his last fight against Rick Story, he was really trying to finish that triangle. He went from an omoplata to triangle.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Beautiful transitions, man. So,
yeah, but you got to understand, Donald Cerrone in relation to a lot of fighters today is still kind of a throwback guy. He came from the WEC era, and that era. He's been fighting a good decade himself, so that's the era where guys were able to fight off of their back. And Donald Cerrone, I don't think comes from a wrestling background.
True. So you're saying basically to educate more people, you just need a wave of guys that are coming in from jiu-jitsu backgrounds to make it their strategy to play guard and really start finishing people from the guard so that fans see, wow, this guy is finishing everybody from his guard. It's possible. I believe if Aoki came over to the UFC and fought some guys and started finishing guys, then we'd see people would respect it a little bit more. Yeah. Aoki is a true finisher, and he could finish some high-level guys off of his back. Yeah. Because he's that sophisticated.
Not even Damian Maia or Jacare are finishing guys off their back.
Yeah. Jacare is not on his back. You're not going to sweep him. So. But I feel
Go ahead.
No, you go. Sorry.
Well, in my defense to that, guys like jiu-jitsu guys, they've abandoned it a bit. I train with a lot of good jiu-jitsu guys, and they've abandoned it because wrestlers have, like 5 years ago, I believe, like, wrestlers learned how to, like, neutralize the bottom game for what it was. And then jiu-jitsu guys said, you know what? let's stop developing techniques for jiu-jitsu to win, and let's just learn how to box better or wrestle better.
Okay.
So they stopped developing, these elaborate guards and abandoned it. And they just say, man, let's wrestle better, let's box better.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what happened.
One thing I appreciate about Jose Aldo's guard is his guard is all bent on getting back up.
Yeah.
And he does that excellent.
Yeah. Or they've developed better ways to get back up, as opposed to better ways to finish people. So it's going to be a while before we see that again. And all the other really good jiu-jitsu guys in the world, like Keenan Cornelius, who probably could finish guys, they're just afraid to get hit, and they'll never do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Or they'll never do MMA. They'll never leave jiu-jitsu and do MMA. Like the guys that are good enough to do it, they're afraid to get hit.
Yeah. And it's just not what they're interested in. Now, do you think we need a guy to come in and throw an Anderson Silva front kick that he knocked out Vitor to make people start believing in it, or like a spinning wheel kick? I forget who was the first one to really knock somebody out with it. Was it Edson Barbosa?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh shit, we could start knocking people out with these spinning wheel kicks. Do you think we need somebody to do that, like a Aoki to come in and start snagging triangles from his guard, and then everybody gets inspired and believes?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, that's kind of the way it happens. And that's definitely going to have to happen for people to start believing in their guards again. But I don't know if we'll ever be to that point, though, because, you don't really see a lot of bonuses, and the crowd doesn't get excited for that.
Yeah.
Guys on his back and like, what the hell is he doing down there? Get him back up on the feet. I want to see guys bang.
Sure.
So I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I think that day of MMA might be gone.
Yeah, in regards to the fans, I think it could go for any sport. In baseball, it's only the purists that like pitching. In football, only the purists are like defense. In basketball, defense. So this is kind of like one of those things. It's like the home run hit.
Guys like it.
Yeah, exactly. It's either the home run hit or the pitching defense. I think jiu-jitsu is like that pitching thing that we're talking about right now.
No, that's a good metaphor. Nice, Ames.
Yeah, thank you, brother, man.
Where'd you did you write that down?
I was thinking about that for like 5 minutes. I've been trying to cut in, but you know what? It's my time. So there you go. Enjoy that, boys.
Now, what do you think should be the next matchup, if we're going to stay on that subject? Should Aldo fight McGregor in a rematch? I believe they should. I think Aldo looked masterful against Frankie Edgar, but do you think that should be the next one, or do you not even care?
McGregor Alvarez, you said? What?
Aldo,
honestly, I actually would probably rather see McGregor and Alvarez.
Boom.
Ooh. Why's that?
I just think, first off, I think, McGregor may be done. I don't know if he can ever get back down to 45, or if it's even worth it to him to do that.
Okay.
And in all honesty, I feel like Aldo will have his hands full with Max Holloway. I'm really liking what Max Holloway's doing now, and I think he would give Aldo everything we want in a fight, as opposed to McGregor going back down.
Yeah.
I would be interested in seeing McGregor fight Alvarez, man. That's an interesting fight for me because, Eddie's an old school guy. I've known Eddie for, quite some time. And, he's a little bit older now, but he still fights he's a really smart and intelligent fighter. And I'd like to see if he could put together a good game plan to beat McGregor.
Okay, I have a question for you. I like that idea, but what happens if Aldo says, fuck it, I'll go up to 155. I don't even care if it's the belt on the line. I want to fight McGregor. I want a rematch. I don't care if I'm going to be outweighed. Do you like that fight, even if he goes up to 155 and he hunts for this fight?
I would, I would. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like that fight. Yeah. I would like that fight. I still don't like his chances against McGregor.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I just feel like he got the short end of the stick. If anybody got the short, I feel bad for the guy. The guy was like undefeated for 10 years.
That's your boy, man.
Losing 13 seconds, and then they say, too bad. See you later. Bye. And like he just got the short end of the stick, and all he's been asking for is the rematch.
Yeah, he got reamed.
Yeah, he keeps getting short-ended. So I just feel like
rear-ended.
Yeah, rear-ended. I just feel like that's something that he's going to be chasing, and he's earned the right to get what he wants at this point. And it's I feel like they should try to make it happen one way or another, whether it's for a belt or not.
You're right. I mean, you're right, man. He had dominated the division for 10 years. He got knocked out in 13 seconds, and he probably won't be able to get it back. But you know what? The best thing he can do if he can't get that rematch back is just to be successful and dominate the division again.
Yeah,
I mean, let his success speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, good point. And and since then, there's been a lot of up and coming guys, like you're saying, Max Holloway. who else is in that division? Is Dennis Bermudez? There's a bunch of guys that are like coming up that when he was beating people in the Frankie Edgar, Chad Mendes days, those guys were on undercards. Now those guys are coming up. He has a lot more challenges besides Conor McGregor now.
Yeah, I really do believe Max will give him a good fight. I like what Max is doing and what he's done the last couple of years. Like ever since he lost to McGregor, quite some time ago. I mean, he learned a lot about himself in that fight, and you can see, man, he's really done a lot of good things. And I don't know if he could beat Aldo, but I believe he'd give Aldo a pretty decent fight.
Mm-hmm. Now, young guys like that, do you believe in the idea that they should be kind of slowly fed and eventually get a title shot, or do you feel like you build 4 solid wins and then you get a title shot regardless of your age? Because sometimes young guys, they get a title shot early and then they lose and then their career's over, you know?
Shot.
You're right. I guess it depends, man. I mean, when it comes to matchmaking, there are a lot of other factors that I think are involved as far as that. I think, marketability is a big factor in that. I think that if a guy is really marketable, they're going to kind of keep him around a while and feed him a bunch of guys to, increase his brand before they give him that shot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it just comes down to marketability. I think that if a guy's not all that marketable and he's winning fights, they're going to try to get rid of him. They're going to keep feeding him good, tough guys. If he keeps winning, good for him. If not, then, hey, listen, we couldn't sell you to the fans anyway.
True. Now, getting back to your boy, Woodley, who do you have an idea? Any birds chirping in your ear that you know of that he might be fighting next, or any ideas?
I mean, it's hard to say. I know Wonder Boy has been talking about, trying to get that fight. And,
I mean, he's earned it.
But Damian Maia, if Damian Maia finishes Carlos Condit this weekend,
that's right.
He's just as deserving, he's just as deserving as
as Wonder Boy
to the title shot too. So,
but there's no chance that he's fighting Nick Diaz or GSP.
Who said that?
I'm saying like, so there is no chance, or there still is a chance that he could fight Nick or GSP.
I don't know. Like the Nick fight, obviously, for financial reasons and for what the fans want. I believe that the fans want to see them guys fight, and like everybody wants to fight them because they know how the money works in the game. You know? But it's just hard to say, man. Like GSP hasn't fought in so long. He says he's going to fight. He hasn't fought.
Yeah.
If a guy wants to fight, man, I'm sure GSP could come back anytime he wants and he can get on the card in Vancouver this weekend if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, where is he? Where is he? So
I don't
know if he's going to come back.
I don't think it's a smart idea for Nick, because neither Nick or GSP have fought in a while, in like 2 years at least. I think GSP 3 years. I feel like neither guy should come back and fight a guy with the biggest X factor in the game, and that's Woodley. I don't think that's a smart idea to come back to. You want to come back to a guy that has less X factors that can knock your head off. In fact, I would like to see GSP come back and fight Nick Diaz. That would be a cool rematch. But if I were GSP or Nick, that's a bad idea to come back and fight Woodley, because you're probably going to get knocked out.
Probably.
Well, here's the thing. If they wanted to, they could.
Yeah.
Because Tyron's already said that, hey, I'll give you a shot at the title. And what did they say? Oh, yeah, cool. They didn't, if they wanted to, they could have been like, hell yeah, get me on that fight. And you know what? The fans would have been like, word, we want to see that fight to it. But they didn't. They were like, nah, I'm cool.
They said, no, we're good.
I'll fight when I'm ready.
Yeah, I saw what he did to Robbie.
That's on them.
Yeah. They're gonna be begging for fights as soon as Woodley gets booked.
Yeah, like
what? I was gonna fight.
They want to fight other guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them though. If you haven't fought in like 3 years, you can't blame a guy for not wanting to go against the biggest, baddest guy in the world. I don't know.
The biggest, blackest, baddest guy.
It's true, man. Like I got to watch the fight live up close and personal, and then you guys there?
Yeah.
And I got to watch that fight up close and personal, and then, but just. Here's the thing. Like, watching that, I'm looking at these guys like, man, I wouldn't want to fight this guy.
Nope.
No.
I mean, he knocked out Robbie, and Robbie was Robbie had defended that thing a couple of times, and Robbie's a killer.
He knocked his block off, man.
And I definitely want to make something clear, man. Robbie is a buddy of mine, and it was hard to to fight Robbie, honestly. It took a lot of soul searching to separate my personal feelings and my the professionalism involved to study and train against Robbie and to do that. And it was hard. It wasn't an easy thing. But me and Robbie, we've squashed it, and we're buddies again. So nice. I'm happy about that.
Awesome. Yeah, Robbie seems like a class act, man. He seems like he's never out to get anybody, and he's always ready to squash anything that happens.
And to squash anybody.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, and the weird thing was that like it took his wife. I spoke to his wife about it, and she was just like, she really kind of like comforted me because I felt bad, but she comforted me and made me feel better about the whole thing.
Oh, good.
What do you think is next for Robbie?
I don't know, but Robbie's back training again. Robbie, he's not letting it, get in his way one bit. Like he's back training again. And I was like, and I let him be known, hey, listen, we still on the same team.
Yeah.
If you guys need my help, man, I'm here for you, so.
Just not against Woodley.
Yeah, just not against Woodley.
now, do you think whoever gets the next title shot, whether it's, let's just say, Damian Maia or Wonder Boy, Robbie is going to fight the other guy?
I don't know. I mean, that would probably be. I don't even know if that would make sense. I don't know.
Okay,
it'd be hard to say. I mean, I'd like to see. I don't know. It's just hard to, because normally the UFC that likes to. I mean, that could be. Man, I wish I could have an answer for that. I really don't know.
It's just like when the top 3 or 4 contenders are in line, you kind of look at the mix and then you see, all right, this guy gets the title shot. The other 2 best guys fight it out for the next title shot. But UFC's been giving a little bit more push for the marketable guys, not necessarily the best guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, like they don't. I mean, we have to understand that everything is a business and everything is about dollars. And in order to get dollars, you need eyeballs. It's not necessarily about who is the best guy. So, like, this is the thing that fighters do have to understand is that if you are not a big draw and you can't really put seats in there, just wait your time until you can be a draw. You can't hate on guys because, like, a guy's a bigger draw than you. That's not their fault.
Good point.
It's not everybody. Everybody was like getting on Conor's case, but man, have you ever been in Vegas when Conor fights? It's madness. The amount of people are there to see him fight. So you can't hate on him because he has fans.
Yeah. No, good point. I mean, I was in DR when watching the fight, and I felt the energy. I wasn't even there. I was watching on a little laptop, and I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. Like, it just felt like everyone was like going bananas in the arena. But that's I don't know.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, fighters have to understand that. Like, guys who put seats in and guys who are paying to watch a certain guy fight, they should get fights. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who people are paying to watch, and they should get their fights.
Good point.
Unfortunately, and it's hard for me to say that coming from this perspective. Now, obviously, you're just not going to put a bum in who just because he puts eyes in the asses in the seats. But at the same time, like,
he needs that combination.
That we have to pay attention to. Okay. Yeah.
Now, lastly, I want to kind of touch on this subject just because the fight just happened between Rumble and Glover.
Man.
Now, obviously, they're saying that Rumble is probably going to fight DC, but I don't want to talk about it, but we kind of have to. John Jones, if he gets cleared soon, what do you think they should do with him? Should we, because he's a guy that puts fans in the seats. Do you throw him right back to DC? Does he jump a line, or what do you think the UFC can do with him, or would want to even do with him at this point?
Honestly, I'll tell you this. I want to see Rumble and John Jones.
Yeah.
You said it.
That's what I want to see. I want to see that. That's the fight to make. DC is the champ, and he's older. Man, let him get some rest. You know what I'm saying? Let him chill. He's from Louisiana. Let him visit his people in Baton Rouge and help them out a little bit. But put John Jones and Rumble. That's the fight to make.
Yeah. I mean, that was the fight that never was. That was supposed to happen, and that's really the one guy the one top contender that John hasn't fought ever. Yeah. So you do that fight.
And I'm gonna tell you this too. I've never thought this until this Glover fight. but Anthony Rumble could beat John Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Will he? It's to be determined. But can he? Yes, he can.
Why did it take you now to think that?
Well, there was certain things. There was a certain immaturity I felt that Anthony Rumble had that John Jones would be able to exploit. And up until now, I said, you know what? I think he's gotten over that. He's gotten over that. And I believe that he has what it takes to beat John Jones. He's always had the physical tools, but I think his maturity level wasn't really there yet to beat him.
I like that, man. That's a good point. I mean, the way he blasted Glover with that, I don't know if it looked like he was disguising it. It looked like like he was setting up a straight cross, and then it went to uppercut. What did you see when you were analyzing that last?
I saw a lead
blast?
hook fake to an uppercut.
No, but when he pulled that right hand back, though, when he pulled that right hand back, it looked like he was about to throw a cross. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I mean that's a legit technique, man. You feint the right hand straight across, and and Glover's a head mover. Glover likes to move his head a lot, and he does it moving forward. So he just walked right into that, and it looked intentional. It didn't look like he got lucky. It looked intentional.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Poor Glover. He was still fighting a ref after. Yeah. Damn, he got knocked out. That happened. Poor Glover.
Yeah, I got to give him his props. And I thought that Glover would beat him based on him being super well rounded, good everywhere, and just having the experience in big fights.
But do you think it goes back to what you were saying about Tyron? Like you got to respect a guy with a big punch like Rumble and Woodley have, and Glover was hyper aggressive against him as soon as the bell rang. Yep. I feel like maybe that didn't help him. Maybe he should have been a little bit more patient against a Rumble, power puncher.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like, there's two places that you have to fight a big puncher early on, either really far away or really up close. Like you can't be in punching range against a big puncher early in a fight.
Yeah,
that early in a fight, like that's almost disrespecting that guy's power in a sense.
Yeah.
Or overestimating your ability to take a punch. That's something that you shouldn't do. Like you need to get really close to him or stay really far away from him to where they can't that early in the fight, because everybody throws their hardest punches like the earliest in the fight.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that. Someone who is a former professional fighter over a long period of time, like how big of a factor is that, and when do you feel like you start losing your like peak power in a fight? Like, is it after 2 minutes? Not to say you're tired, but like peak power. Is it after 2 minutes? Is it after 10 punches? When does that happen normally?
Well, you know what? I would say by the second round, really, for most guys.
Okay.
Like in the first round, I think their guys kind of can maintain it. Depending on the weight class, like heavyweights lose it in about 2 minutes. But most guys, like, and the lighter it goes, the longer it takes. But I'd say the average would probably be around, in the first round, most guys will still have that peak power. But I'd say the first minute is always the most dangerous because, guys are a little bit nervous and they want to get that fight over with. So they're going to throw something really hard to try to get that fight over with.
Sure.
But after about the first round, I think the peak power is gone. The intention to throw their hard stuff is still there in the beginning of the second round. Okay. But after like the first 15 seconds of the second round, now we're dealing in about the 75% range.
Okay, nice. It's good to know that. So next time I watch a fight, I'll keep that in mind. Like, I see. He's not tired. He just can't throw his power anymore. It's just not at the peak.
He just can't throw it anymore.
Yeah.
But also factor this in too. Guys with good technique will still maintain a good portion of that power because they're throwing punches at a level of technique where they're maximizing their power of what they do have left.
And the guys who are more accurate, it won't take as much power to finish.
Right, yeah. So if they got good technique and are accurate as well, then they're still going to have the power. Now here's a guy that comes to mind. He's a very unknown guy, but that's Doo-Ho Choi. And a guy like that is going to have power all throughout a fight because his technique is some of the cleanest I've seen in the UFC.
Is that dude that is like
Fought 2 cards ago?
Yeah, and he's like acting all like thug or not thug, just kind of like a ladies' man or something like that.
That's a Japanese dude.
Yeah.
No,
that's a different one.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. The one,
he's like,
I know
I
who you're
love my
talking
bitches.
about.
Yeah,
No,
he's
not
funny.
him.
Not him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. Yeah, he's pretty funny. And yeah, we let him get away with some stuff that we wouldn't let other people get away
True.
with because of the language barrier.
That's
But
true.
but no, I forgot his name. But Du Ho Choi is the guy who knocked out Thiago Tavares.
Okay.
That was
On
recent.
yeah, it was pretty recent. But
Yeah.
the card before UFC 200.
Oh,
Okay.
that dude is
It was
nasty.
during that week. It was during that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid is nasty.
Yeah, and he knocked out Sam Cecilia too. I mean, he's a really clean puncher.
Definitely, I gotta go back and watch his fights. What's his name again? Du
Ho Choi.
Du Ho Choi. Write that down.
They call him the Superboy or something like that.
Ah, okay.
Now I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's sick.
We needed that nickname.
Superboy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Lastly,
Yeah,
I
he's
want
something else.
to rapid fire some questions at you, and just kind of personal questions. Who is your most fun fighter to watch? Anybody, any weight class
The most fun fighter to
Yeah.
watch?
for you?
Oh, wow. That's a hard question because I rarely watch fights to be entertained now.
Then it could be post fight. You're like, man, this guy always fights, and it's like wild.
Maybe it's Superboy right now.
Superboy.
Actually, you know who I like to watch fight? Yeah, this is. I like watching girls fight. Actually, I like watching Rose fight.
Oh, I love Rose.
And obviously Joanna. I like to watch her fight. Yeah,
Yes.
I like to watch them. The girls kind of fight with a certain amount of passion that most guys don't fight with. Because like when you watch guys fight, you always see like that machismo come in, so they're a little hesitant sometimes because they don't want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But girls rarely ever show that, and they fight so passionately. And like I like watching Rose and Joanna fight.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. They're really good fighters. Who is someone, maybe your fighters aside, the guys that you train with or train, who is somebody that you look forward to watching the most? Like you're always just kind of looking at cards, waiting for fight announcements to see that guy fight or girl.
And I've been saying his name a lot recently, and that's Kyoji Horiguchi. And I'm training him, and this guy is amazing. He is amazing in the room. He's fighting Ali.
Bagatino,
I can't even
right?
pronounce his last name. Yeah, Bagabatino, or however you pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, but he's fighting him, and I'm really looking forward to watching him fight again because he is amazing.
Didn't he fight Demetrius Johnson?
He did.
Yeah,
he
he's
did
a
fight.
beast.
He fought DJ quite some time ago, but he's gotten a lot better since then.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys got anything else?
No, we're good, man.
Sure.
We're good.
Yeah.
Sure. This is Dean Thomas.
Well, I hope I
we'll
was
run
able
it
to
back.
provide for you guys. I hope we had some fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely,
for
man. We'll
sure.
run that back.
Okay, Dean, who's your favorite rapper all time?
Oh, snap.
Oh, shit.
You say
My
Drake.
favorite rapper of all time?
Yeah.
Nas.
There you go.
Oh.
Now we're
My
best
man.
friends.
I was like, say Nas, and we're best friends, man.
Who's number 2?
Who'd you think I was going to say? Fetty Wap?
I thought you was going to say Little Boozy.
Lil Boozy? Nah, man. Nas is my favorite.
There
of all
you
time.
go.
Wow.
Favorite.
I'm an old school rapper, man. I still show love to all the old school rappers, man. Like I came up in a time where I was listening to like Nas and Nice and Smooth and Showbiz and AG.
Oh,
So like those are still
hell
my
yeah.
top guys.
Dude, you mentioned Showbiz and AG. Wow.
Yeah.
Classic.
AG is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Dress
yeah.
from Black Sheep, but yeah, that's my.
Yeah.
Woof.
There you go.
Damn.
Now it's getting real good.
You
Favorite album of all time? If you're driving
Favorite
from
album of all time?
if you're going on a long drive, you got to listen to one album the whole ride.
What is it, like AC/DC?
All right,
repeat.
I got two. I got two in the deck. I got Gangstar,
Okay.
Daily Operations,
And that's
and
a
then
good one.
I got Main Source, Breaking Adams.
Damn.
I, know-
Dean.
I don't know about that one. I got to listen to that. I never
Marco's
heard
like,
that.
huh?
Dean is blowing my mind.
Michael's getting all
I
fired
took
up.
it back. I took it back.
Dang.
I thought you were going to say Mano's album.
Not Nano. High haters? Nah, not that one.
Nah, you're good? You sure?
Okay, who's the worst rapper of all time?
Name anyone from now.
And he had to have at least like 2 albums.
That has a worst rapper that has 2 albums?
At least.
MC Hammer.
Hammer. No, I like Hammer, man.
Oh,
like,
hell no.
No. And I like him as a person. Like I follow him on Instagram or on Twitter, and I like him as a person.
No doubt.
He seems like a good dude.
No
but
doubt.
the worst rapper of all time. Does Riff Raff have 2 albums?
Yes, he does.
Does he?
I know.
Oh.
Second album's called Neon Icon, I believe.
Is it? Yeah, but I like Riff Raff though, man. Like he's funny.
He's funny,
but man, he can't rap.
I didn't even know he was a real rapper. I just thought he was just playing around.
He can ball though. He can dribble.
Oh,
he can play
he?
some ball.
Oh, snap.
And he's entertaining as hell, but he can't really rap though.
Yeah.
He can't rap.
I haven't heard that name in a minute.
So who's better, Lil Bow Wow or Riff Raff?
Probably Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah.
Because he just retired.
Who's
Can't rap neither.
Who's the best Asian rapper? Who's the best Asian rapper of all time?
The best Asian rapper?
Yeah, because Ames is Asian, so we need to.
Thanks, man. Thanks for putting that out. They call me Superboy.
What's that dude's name who used to freestyle all the
Jin.
time? Jin.
I knew it. I was like, there's only one
It's
real
the only
Asian
one.
rapper.
Or
He's the one.
that dude from 2 Live Crew back in the day who always been in that cast for like 5 years. That guy.
I'll go with Jin. That's my boy. Rough Rider. Stand up.
Oh, snap. He said 2 Live Crew.
Oh, shit.
Dang.
I'll take it.
I think we'll leave it on that note.
Yeah, good looking out, man.
Dean, thanks for coming on. We had a blast, man. We have really.
Hey, fellas, I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
man.
you, man. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Anytime y'all want to have me on, man, I'm more than willing to come on and chop it up with y'all, man. You guys were a lot of fun.
Next
For
week,
sure.
let's go. I'm not even playing.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
All right, fellas, I'll catch up with y'all.
Thanks
Hey,
a lot,
take care, man.
Take care.
Peace.
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 As always, if you're really interested in this podcast and you want us to continue to do it, please show us your support by going to iTunes and subscribing, by downloading, by giving us good ratings, whether it's on iTunes or any app that you have, whatever. Just try to find a way to give us a 5-star rating and a review, and it goes a long way, trust me. And it helps us get more sponsors, which allows us to, just keep this ball moving. Also, if you have any guests or anybody you'd like to hear of on the podcast, try to get in touch with them and tell them to get in touch with us. info@showtheart.com. If you guys have Facebook, we are posting links to subscribe to our new newsletter. And on that newsletter, we're going to just update everybody with all our new products, all the new podcast episodes, everything that we have in one sourced email, probably once every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks. Also, we will be doing a contest on that. One contest, a month. And we will be giving something away each month, whether it may be a gi, a rash guard, some coffee, anything. It might be a bundle package. It might be one thing. But the only way you can enter those contests is if you're already subscribed to our newsletter. So go check that out. Lastly, go to our website, showtheart.com, for some gear. We got t-shirts and tank tops and hoodies up there. Soon we're going to have rash guards. Just show your support, and, if you like our stuff, purchase it. Boom.